Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. Live from Austin, Texas, broadcasting worldwide, it's Alex Jones.
Greece has been forced to tap emergency fund. You notice the deeper they get into the banker bailout, the worse things get. Greece has been forced to activate an obscure emergency fund for its banks because they are running short on collateral that is acceptable to the European Central Bank. And joining us to talk about this and Ben Bernanke's latest announcement as well on QE3 supposedly isn't going to happen, but Dr. Roberts said they're still doing it via the monetization of the T-bills, is Bob Chapman. We'll also talk about Libya and a lot more. But Bob, you know, you've been fighting the globalists for 50 years, and their documents were public then, and then the Dodd Commission came out, Norman Dodd and others, where they planned to set up a world government, get everybody in debt, implode the nation states, and have a new bank of the world. And now we see it being announced, and Europe's told there's a new financial dictatorship run by private banks, and they will dictate everything, not your parliaments, not your governments, and we have a super Congress now that originates the spending and tax bills, not the regular Congress for the first time in 200+ years. We are seeing just incredible things, Bob, and it's almost like we make it passé in a way. We actually help the establishment if we just sit here and talk about this and then don't remind people of how incredible it is. I mean, I'm almost conditioned. It's like if this stuff was happening 10 years ago, people would be freaking out, but they incrementally got us so trained to accept it that now we're seeing articles every day, get rid of the Constitution. Yeah, the government brings in narcotics. What you going to do about it? I mean, there's just this arrogance. And the former head of the Fed, Greenspan, saying we're above the law on Lair News Hour. No one can investigate us. No one can look into us, and we'll just print money. And I mean, what's that Italian mafia thing where you flick your hand under your chin? You know, basically saying go to Hades, Bob. What are we facing here?
Going to Hades, just as you pointed out. They have had to expedite their program. That's why what you're seeing is becoming something that the major media is starting to handle. And yes, they want to break everybody. There's no question about that financially. And they want to reduce population, depending upon who within the CFR and the Trilateral Commission you want to listen to, anywhere between 60 and 90%. So that means there's not going to be many of us left. As far as the situation in Europe is concerned, what the European Central Bank just did violates their rules in purchasing the bonds of Spain and Italy, among others, and it also violates the German Constitution. And I think we're coming up to the first week in September, and all of these people who have taken their vacations, well, you might say Europe burned, which is incredible, like it was going to go away. It's probably the worst financial crisis in peacetime that Europe has seen in 100 or more years, and they're on vacation. But anyway, they're going to come back and face reality very shortly, and I don't think anything's going to get done because the Germans have said, look, to the ECB, what you're doing is illegal and wrong. They spent about $100 billion buying these bonds, and they expect that these individual countries within the European Union, particularly the Eurozone, the European Union's 27 countries, Eurozone 17 of those 27. And they expect them to come to the rescue and come up with the money to buy this or pay for these bonds that have been purchased. And the ECB has no authority to do what they've done. So the Germans are saying, look, we're not going to do that. I don't know who's going to pay for them, but it's not going to be us. And so they're at a standstill. There is no solution now because the Germans have said no. The Finnish haven't said no, but they want collateralization on the loans, and they want the Greeks to put up their gold.
So Bob, here's the issue. Everybody has seen example after example in third world countries and in the West bailing out the banks, which means staying in their Ponzi scheme because they hold you hostage, never fixes anything. It only makes it worse. But if you're a bankster, you actually do win. So this is all by design, as we've broken it down for years. Now it's all happening just like we said it would, and it's accelerating. And we saw gold shoot up to 1,900 and something, and they pushed it down, then it shot back up today. What's going on in the gold and silver markets right now?
Well, first of all, you can look back at May, and you saw the attack on silver, took it from $50 down to $32.50. And then it rallied back up to $44, and then they attacked it again. And what they forgot was it works both ways. On the way down, with the high margins in a very thin market, they raised them from $4,500 to $21,600. And then the commodity houses that did gold and silver, they raised them to $42,000. They since rescinded that, as far as I know. But what they didn't figure was that when they brought it down, they wiped out all of the small and medium-sized investors, so that when silver started to go back up again, there was no resistance. There was nobody to sell. And so it was getting stronger and stronger, and that's why they attacked it again, but it's not lasting, as we can see today. I do a lot of programs, as you well know, and on Wednesday and on Thursday and again today, I'm telling people that we've hit the bottom in both gold and silver. They're going to head right back up again. What was done in gold, they increased the margin requirements from $4,500 to $8,000 or $9,000. I don't know the exact figure at the moment. It's in tomorrow's issue, incidentally. And what they're finding is they set this group of insiders, the big firms on Wall Street, the banks, brokerage firms, hedge funds. What they did was gave them the information, or was given the information prior, and they all acted together, and they knocked gold down $200. And I came out on Wednesday and said, tomorrow's the bottom between 7 and 725. Go in and buy with both hands. I was a buyer.
Stay there. Let's talk about it on the other side, because it's shooting back up right now. No, the globalist dreams aren't as empty. They do have things they want to do. And we've seen their new world order. The control freaks like to wreck everything and consolidate it. That's what a cancer does. Now, here's some breaking news from Reuters. Russian central bank to offer gold-backed loans. Russia's central bank will offer gold-backed loans for up to 90 days at an interest rate of 7%. Wow. So we're starting to see that gold is becoming the real currency. That is a pretty high interest rate for 90 days. It said in a statement on Friday expanding its lending facilities for dealing with any future liquidity crunch in the banking system. Bob, I want you to finish up with what they did in the market, driving it down artificially. And now it's up, I don't know, 40-something bucks today. So this is the standard deal where they create the perception that gold drops, and people are like, man, you're an idiot. Gold went down 200 bucks. And I'm like, yeah, but it's up 500 in the last few months. Look at the overall graph. And they're like, still, you're dumb. You bought it at 300. It's 18 plus. I'm like, well, no, I'm not. And they're like, yeah, you're a failure. Watch me jump off a cliff now. Government loves me. They really killed bin Laden. The Easter Bunny's real. Finish up, Bob, and then we'll get into this Russia situation and some other news and phone calls.
Well, on Wednesday's issue, we told people tomorrow morning we'll hit 17 to 1725. It'll be the turn. The professionals are licking their chops. You get in there with them and you buy both gold and silver.
How did you call the plunge? Because I know it's on record. In fact, we should toot your horn a little bit better. You did call it before it happened. How did you do that?
Well, the market is the market, and it gets overextended. We saw a lot of short covering going on, and I felt that it was normal to have a correction, usually $50 to $100, when you have an event like that. Well, it didn't do that. The government got a hold of it with their minions, and they attacked, drove it down 200. Well, they've got the same problem now they had with silver. They wiped out all of the small and medium-sized investors on the way down, and there's no resistance. And, of course, China and Russia and Venezuela and Brazil and Argentina and Iran and India and everybody who's a buyer of gold is, they were wringing their hands and saying, does the United States government understand they're just giving us goo-gobs and goo-gobs of money? And so, as you said, gold is up $47 right now, and silver's up 44 cents. And it's going to continue. It's going to go right back up again because it's a phony baloney deal. The underlying fundamentals are there. What are they? Gold's the only real money.
Bob, it seemed like the banksters a few years ago thought they could really still buy their own bonds, monetize debt, but not cause inflation on the street. Now they seem to be abandoning it and hiding it in plain view and going, well, yeah, we're just going to print money. Oh, a little inflation's not bad. Are they in control? I know they set this in motion. They think they're in control, but are things going well for them?
Well, let me give you an example. One of the things that you didn't point out in news for today, the Rothschilds have had to make a very large investment in Societe Generale, which is one of the major banks in Paris, in France. And they had to do that because Societe Generale is broke. And so to answer your question, if Rothschild has to go in and bail out a bank, they're in serious trouble. Well, the same thing's been going on in the United States, and all the banks in Europe and the United States are carrying two sets of books.
Now, let me ask you a question. If Buffett puts in $5 billion, the Rothschilds put in however many billions they put in, I did see that, and then you're talking about hundreds of trillions conservatively, that's the real hangover. How can $5 billion prop up, $100 trillion, as Max Kaiser was saying in Bank of America? Are they leveraging into derivatives again with fractional reserve to the power of 1,000 with that $5 billion? How does Buffett, quote, save Bank of America with $5 billion?
Well, first of all, it's a drop in the bucket, and the leverage that you're talking about, yes, it's there, and they are using it. It's a last gasp resort. It's the same as Sogen is in Paris, and it's not going to work. How long will it last? I don't know. 3, 6, 9 months, and it's over. And, Buffett has made his money on inside information, knowing what the government is going to do, and the Illuminati, every time they need a favor, because he and Soros and people like them.
Stay there.